Recycling and public perception, understanding the complexities of recycling today. Good morning, my name is Kylan Jonas. Today I want to discuss an issue that affects all of us, recycling and how it's perceived by the public. Imagine this, you finish your drink, toss the bottle into the recycling bin, and feel good knowing you've done your part for the planet. But have you ever wondered what really happens next? Is that bottle actually getting recycled, or is it ending up in a landfill? Today I want to dive into the complexities of recycling, why people doubt its effectiveness, how nostalgia skews our perception and the role corporations play, how technology can help, and the biggest barrier stopping us from making recycling work. By the end of this discussion, I hope we can rethink what it truly means to be sustainable and what changes we need for a working system. Is recycling really working? Let's start with the tough question. Does recycling actually work? For decades, we've been told that recycling is the answer to reducing waste, but in reality, the system is flawed. Many recycling programs were designed to look effective rather than actually be effective. Cities and universities promoted ambitious recycling plans, yet much of what we placed in the bin never truly got recycled. In fact, a large portion of recyclable materials still ends up in landfill or gets shipped overseas where it's either burned or dumped. A major issue is that recycling is largely dictated by the market. If the price of raw materials drops, recycling becomes less profitable and companies stop investing in it. This cycle has created public skepticism. If we've been recycling for decades, why is plastic pollution worse than ever? Recycling in the rose-colored glasses. Many people think that recycling worked better in the past, but was that really the case? Johan Norberg's concept of false nostalgia explains that we often romanticize the past, believing it was more effective than it actually was. Many of us remember growing up with simple recycling systems, glass bottles, paper, and platinum cans. Aluminum cans. It seemed like everything was being recycled efficiently. However, historical records show a different reality. Early recycling efforts were inconsistent and much of the material still ended up as waste. Historical narratives remind us that the official story of recycling often differs from experiences of waste workers. The reality is recycling wasn't necessary. But it wasn't necessarily better in the past. It was just smaller in scale. Greenwashing, the hidden truth. Another reason people destruct recycling is because of corporate greenwashing. Companies present themselves as environmentally friendly by promoting recycling programs, yet they continue to produce environmentally amounts of single-use plastics. The EPA may release optimistic reports about recycling rates, but investigative journalists and waste management workers tell a different story. Take the case of plastic bottles. Companies market them as recyclable, but in reality, only a small percentage gets reused. The rest is often downcycled into lower quality plastic, which eventually becomes waste anyway. Greenwashing tricks consumers into believing we're making progress when in reality, we're stuck in a broken system that prioritizes corporate profits over real environmental solutions. Technology and the future of recycling. Despite these challenges, there is hope. New technologies have the potential to revolutionize recycling and restore public trust. Artificial intelligence is now being used to sort waste more accurately, reduce contamination that often makes recycling ineffective. Automated sorting facilities can identify materials with incredible precision, ensuring that more recyclables get processed. Blockchain technology is also being explored to create transporting in the recycling process. By tracking where recycling goes, we can hold corporations accountable and ensure recyclables aren't just being dumped in another country. With proper investment and regulation, technology could make recycling more efficient and reliable, but it requires real commitment from industries and government. Barriers to recycling. Even with better technology, there are still major barriers preventing efficient recycling. One of the biggest is accessibility. Many communities, especially low-income areas, don't have curbside recycling services. If recycling isn't easy, people simply won't do it. Another issue is confusion. Many people don't know what can and can't be recycled. Contamination, like throwing greasy pizza boxes into the recycling bin, can ruin entire batches of materials, making them unrecyclable. Finally, economic factors play a huge role. When oil prices drop, it becomes cheaper to produce new plastic than to recycle existing materials, making it difficult for recycling plants to stay profitable. To fix recycling, we need to clear policies, better education, and investment in infrastructure that make recycling easy and accessible for everyone. Conclusion: the future is in our hands. So where do we go from here? Recycling is not a perfect solution, but it can still be a valuable tool if we do it the right way. Better policies that hold corporations accountable, invest in new technologies that improve efficiency, and ensure recycling is accessible to all communities. Thank you.
I have two questions for you. How valid and reliable were the sources that you use, and how do you know?
So the sources I used were all valid and reliable because they were from peer-reviewed academic journals and the College Board stimulus.
And if you had more time, what additional research would you have conducted?
If I had more time, I would dive into the depths of where specific recycling plants deliver recycling, such as in our current state, where they would go to.